Hey, here we are in the Oracle section of today's episode. Let's take a look at our daily energies. Magnetic Warrior, as you may have already seen a number of times in our wave spell presentations today. We have the Magnetic Knight. We also have the Guided by the Warrior, Magnetic Warrior again. So much of this energy today. The Magnetic World Bridger. And the Cosmic Serpent. Okay, so starting with the Knight, I feel is really appropriate. As we kind of looked at before, that energy of quest, that energy of intelligence, that energy of probing into the unknown, I find that the Knight here is the unknown, and the Warrior is like unifying that purpose, that intelligence, to dive into the unknown. And it's interesting because then that quest begins to, like, the different qualities of the quest outside of what you could say is the storyline or the inherent purpose, is that we begin to see the different levels of like abundance and dream. When we go into the nature of the unknown, abundance essentially is potentiality. And so any single thing can manifest or come to bear. And so the abundance is the unlimited potential inherent within the unknown, which is to say that any aspect of abundance that one is attempting to cultivate can be found in the unknown, the collective unconscious, the individual unconscious, the existential unconscious, as well as the dreamer. And so part of the warrior tagging into this is even to just allow the warrior's nature as what is your warrior mythology. Kind of like the monkey in the way that it plays, but this is a bit different because this is like there are aspects of the warrior that you could say without any form of mythological countenance whatsoever, everyone has an aspect of the warrior. But the warrior is a mythos. You know, we don't really have many warrior aspects in our life currently at this time, outside of like martial artists, really, and maybe like police officers and military and stuff like that. And so even those have a fundamental background or history that's showing where these techniques and where these ways of war begin from. Now, many of us have self-identified certain aspects of the warrior, whether it's through TV shows, video games, books, or just very natural to your state of imagination and how you see yourself in this mysterious world that is a dream when you allow yourself to go there. And so the Knight is also saying unify this energy, because that aspect of yourself that is the warrior is really going to come out in this wave spell. And that brings me to the guiding power, which is just the permission to draw your sword, claim your warriorness. Don't be scared. You're guided by that energy. Go into that. Maybe go out in the forest and just scream as loud as you can, if that feels safe to you. We definitely don't want to be scaring people, right? Go into a place where it's healthy to really express that energy. If it is in a more meditation, more fundamental kind of energy where it's embodying the qualities of, then recognize that you're being asked to embody these qualities, to most likely help your life gain some clarity or direction or some form, or be able to help empower others with that. In some aspect too, for those of you who already may have some of these qualities and they're kind of out of control, this is an aspect to allow yourself to go into them, recognizing where that lack of control is, or that volatile warrior energy is, that may be more of a tyrant, and reeling it back in. Recognize that, hey, you know what, I don't actually really want to be in conflict with things that are my friends and my allies, so how can I use this energy in a good way to help empower others and to be safe? Because in the end, we want to be safe. And for me, I find this energy for me transforms very readily into what I call the protector. And the protector, the definition that I have of the protector versus the warrior is that the warrior looks for battle. The protector never looks for battle. If it were up to the protector simply wouldn't have a sword or the skills at all. But the protector is called to because there are still some who look for battle and some who would do others wrong. And so, you know, in my personal mythology, the protector is a she, because it's a relationship to myself and how I wield the sword of compassion and the sword of truth, the sword of protection. I'm like my own personal She-Ra. She-Ra, right? But there's lots of He-Man out there too, if any of you were in the 80s and know what the heck I'm even talking about. And it's very safe to go into all those aspects and really discover what that is for you, because this is about having a healthy embodiment where these energies allow you to work with the skill sets and the momentum you have in your life here. Okay, and this is definitely bringing us to the challenge. The warriors, the warrior, big combat scene. What is challenging the warrior? Well, getting killed. All of the arrows flying and the spells blasting and the sword swinging. At any moment, the warrior could be just rended limb from limb and their quest is over. Dun, dun, dun. But in this way, we're going to recognize that our ally is death. And just as the warrior's aspect is the quest, right? We have the unknown kind of representing the question, and that purpose representing the quest itself, going on the quest. And so the world bridger is really the bridging of worlds that is the quest of the warrior. It is the getting up and the going. It is the fellowship of the rings journeying across the land to bring the ring to Mordor. Things of this nature. And everything, the entire mythos that is seen within, because the quest is exemplified, and this is why it has purpose. Purpose in some way is synonymous to goal. What is the purpose of this? Which means that it's only going to be a containment field or an energy in motion, which is going to be like a hacky sack or a ball up in the air for a time. That purpose isn't going to be there forever. It's a cycle. And so just like the warrior is a cycle, and just like life and death is a cycle, the quest is a cycle, which you could say a cycle of becoming or a cycle of growth. And in this way, you can kind of add that monkey energy in, or that dream energy here seen by the knight and embody yourself mythologically. Go into it. Maybe it's a good time to watch a warrior movie. Maybe it's a good time to revel in that inner journey. Make something that may be even boring in life into an epic journey. Maybe even bring yourself a soundtrack. That would just be fun, right? And so, so far, all the aspects of this talk about how the warriorness can really be an exemplified embodiment. Now, I find when we go to the serpent is that enduring energy. It's that, not the serpent itself, but it's with the cosmic tone. All these other energies are all with the magnetic tone, so we're with unification, identification, and purpose. It's an initiator type of energy. The cosmic tone, which is participating with the serpent to me has this reality of like, okay, when the warrior comes to bear, when it like really comes to bear, like say you get in a fight, physical, emotional, verbal, it doesn't matter. There are very real consequences. And so that also begins to take a look a little clearer into how the serpent influences the knight, how the serpent influences the world bridger, is like death of relationships. Maybe you say some stupid freaking shit and you really hurt someone and you need to take responsibility for that. The warrior's hidden power, being the serpent, is like there's a very visceral nature about the energy of the warrior, even more so than many of the other energies in the land, because the warrior can be intensely upfront, intensely personal. The warrior can be intensely cutting. And though there's some aspect of it that we play with, like kids running through the forest with wooden swords, those wooden swords could kill someone if any of those children had the intent to crack another one's skull open with that, or get into a place to do that. And so I find the serpent here is the distinction to recognize the real darkness in the night, that those demons, right? And also that very real type of death, whether it be a physical death or whether it be an emotional or relationship death or the untimely letting go of something. Is the serpent really kind of gives us a reality check to say, hey, what about those aspects that are required in the physical realm, right? And how can you necessarily, if you're called to, if this is a frequency in your life, how can you take responsibility for the warrior energy in your life that wants to be applied physically, that wants to be guided by the serpent? The serpent's already a cutting and intense frequency with that survival energy. It can become the sexual energy. The warrior that you have may be the spiritual warrior, kind of like the Shiva energy. And so if you bring it that way, your inner warrior, your inner discipline to master your sexual energy, your spiritual energy, to bring yourself into those realms of sustainability and non-violence through having a warrior's code of conduct to sustain the purpose of that non-violence. Krishna, great warrior, right? Christ, amazing warrior, right? Buddha, a peerless warrior. And these beings were warriors, peaceful warriors. They were greater fighters than any we could possibly know because they had achieved something beyond conflict and they have achieved something beyond themselves. And the warrior's nature of the codes of conduct, the intelligence, those questions, that's what helps bring one there and stabilize that. So the serpent can also represent the bringing up of that energy, but it starts in that very physical realm. It starts almost in that external realm, and then we bring it within the ascended serpent. Okay. That feels good. Stay tuned for the Mind Pyramid Meditation of today's episode.